I'm trash. Toy Story 4 is directed by Josh Cooley and starring the voice acting of Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, Tony Hale, Keegan-Michael Key, Jordan Peele, Madeleine McGraw, Christina Hendricks, Keanu Reeves, and pretty much everyone else you know who has been in the previous Toy Story movies. Before I go any further, I just want to say there will not be any plot spoilers in this review. This is the newest film in the Toy Story franchise, and it is centered around a new adventure in the lives of all of the toys that we know and love that many of us grew up with. Predominantly, this film is centered around the Woody character and the fact that he is now dealing with being with a new kid in Bonnie, making the transition from Andy to Bonnie, and he's having a lot of trouble with that. But what is adding to his trouble is this new toy that is now introduced into the lives of all these other toys in the name of Forky. And Forky is not the most traditional toy. He is reluctantly not wanting to be a toy, but it is a toy that gives Bonnie lots of joy, and Woody feels that it is his purpose to make Bonnie happy, so he has to make sure that nothing bad happens to Forky. But of course, something does happen to Forky, and is up to Woody and Buzz and all the characters we know to remedy the situation. I can't believe that when I saw Toy Story in theaters back in 1995 that I would be here now, 24 years later, talking to you all about a Toy Story 4 that I just saw in theaters. This is a franchise that I've grown up with, that I'm sure many of you have grown up with at home. Granted, if you didn't see the movie back in the theaters back in 1995, I'm pretty sure you've seen it at home or somewhere, because it is such an integral part of so many people's lives that when this movie was announced, I didn't have the reluctance that I think many other people did. Many other people thought, oh, after the greatness that was Toy Story 3, that this was just going to be a cash grab. This is just going to be milking the franchise for all it's worth, making all that money. Granted, when it comes to Disney and all these other big studios, making the money is one of their most important things. It's probably their most important thing because they are in a business after all, but I have to say, this film fits right in with the other films perfectly. Is it as good as I think the other films are? No. But I do think it's different, and I do think it has its own merits. Of course, it is following up a lot of the things that we are used to seeing, a lot of characters that we are used to seeing, but it's a much smaller film on a much smaller scale than I remember the other films being, because it really just concentrates on Woody and his character's journey and him having a bit of an existential crisis. What I really love about these Toy Story films, and what really is the best of Pixar, is when they're able to do things that appeal both to adults and to children. And this film, I think, does that once again. Woody is on this journey of new discovery, self-discovery. He is trying to figure out what his purpose is. He's trying to hold on to what his purpose was when he was with Andy and all the adventures and literally the life that he has already lived. He's trying to hold on to that, but he's finding that that may not be what is his purpose anymore. And a film is delving deep into a lot of those important life themes that I think a lot of us go through throughout our lives. You know, the uncomfortability it is to change, where are we going to change, how we're going to change, and not wanting to change and just holding on to what we know to be comforting. This film is fantastically well done. The animation is gorgeous. The animation in this movie, I think, looks better than all of the previous films. Granted, I mean, it is 2019, and these other films didn't have the same technology that we have now today, but it is just absolutely stunning. The voice acting is, of course, absolutely superb. Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts has a much bigger role in this movie than I think she had in the first two films that she was in, and it's really great to see her character back as Bo Peep, but I really liked where her character has gone from back then, and where her character's journey has gotten her right now, and where it's going to have her go in the future. And that's really interesting to me, that these toys have their own lives. And I also really like how funny this movie was. This was probably one of the most funniest films I've seen in the theaters this year, and a lot of the humor is within the Forky character, who's voiced by Tony Hale. This Forky character is absolutely hilarious. And not only is he hilarious, but he's also sad. He's also teaching life lessons about identity and purpose, things I've already touched on. And it's really fantastic. And also, I really enjoy them being able to introduce a new character and him being so endearing right off the bat. And him also being kind of a representation of humanity and life to a certain extent. The quote I used in my intro, "I'm trash," is from him because he is made from trash. So he always believes that he's trash. And it's really commenting on the way people can feel. People can feel like they are trash, but they're not trash. When they are something more, they have a life, they have a purpose, they have a meaning. And to finally realize that, to have that switch go off, is something that is really important, not only in this film, but I think in life in general. So this film is really absolutely fantastic when it's hitting on all of those great thematic things. When it comes to the negatives I have in this film, like I said, this movie is rather small in scope when it comes to who we're following. A lot of the other toys that we've come to know and love kind of get pushed to the side and really don't have that much to do. You do kind of miss them because you've been so well acquainted with them, you just can't help it. And so that's a kind of a problem. Also, when it comes to the overall antagonist in this movie, the antagonist is interesting to me because it's different than the antagonist that we've had in the past. Because this antagonist, there is a reason why she's doing what she's doing, and there's a reason why things are the way they are. And I really like that they went that different way because it was very easy for them just to rehash what they've already done in the past. Not that it doesn't have shades of things we've seen in the past when it comes to the antagonistic characters, but I found that it had a new interesting twist to it. I would say the culmination or the completion of that whole arc could be a little underwhelming for some, but I found myself overall enjoying it. So, with all of that being said, I'm going to give this film a rather high score of 4.2 out of 5 stars. This is another really fantastic entry into the Toy Story franchise, into the overall oeuvre of Pixar films, and I really found myself enjoying it, and I'm really pleasantly surprised that this franchise still has a lot to offer. And I'm really curious if they're going to make a Toy Story 5, so I highly recommend this film to people who were fans of all the previous films, because I think you're really going to like this one. That has been my review of Toy Story 4. If you like this video, please check out the other videos on my channel.